Hello everyone, I am Arpita Pal, your educator, and once again I am here with the history portion revision, that is the revision of spectrum, that is modern Indian history, with a new topic, that is the tribal movements. Now the tribal movements hold a very important part as far as the prelims is concerned, because you can always expect at least one question from this topic. So we will deal with it in this lesson. But before beginning, I have an important announcement for you all. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel Arpita Sharma Classes if you want to have the daily Hindu news analysis and analysis of important international organizations, daily MCQs which will be beneficial for your prelims preparation, strategy classes for UPSC CSE, polity classes, economics MCQ series, and many more. You can press the bell icon and never miss an update. Also, Arpita Sharma ma'am is taking Live Plus courses on Unacademy Plus platform. So you can use the code Sharma20 and have 10% discount. So use the code and reap the benefits. So let's begin. Now today we are dealing with the tribal movements, right? I have already told you that tribal movements or the topic of tribal or peasant movement is very important, but we will be dealing with just tribal movements, not with the civil uprisings and all, but tribal movement, because tribal movements hold a very important part as far as prelims are concerned. But before beginning with the movements, we need to understand that what were the causes behind these movements, what led to such movements, why did the tribes revolted against the British government or against the other people, what led to these movements. Firstly, the land settlements of the British. You have already known, or you have already, if you have gone through the previous lesson, we have discussed the land settlement or land revenue settlements such as the Royatwari system, Mahalwari system, or also the Britishers basically exempted the or basically they led to the conquering of lands of the tribal people. That is, what did they do? They wanted timber because they wanted to lay railway tracks. So they wanted wood also because the forests were of great importance. So British wanted that, and the tribals or the tribal people basically live in forest areas. So the land were taken away, or the lands of the tribal people were taken away, and land settlement was made such that it led to basically a declining trend, or basically led to the degradation of the tribal people. Hence, land settlements of the British was one of the reasons. Then influx of non-tribals in tribal areas. Okay, it should be tribal area. Influx of non-tribals in tribal areas means, now you know, if you have been very aware of the current affairs, then you must be knowing about the Sentinelese tribe and the controversy which took place about the Sentinelese tribe in the Andaman and Nicobar regions. So basically what happened that in this region, non-tribal person had gone into the region, had moved into the region of the tribal people, and he was killed by them. Because see, tribal people are very much sensitive about their culture, their heritage. They are very much sensitive about it, and they do not want any outsider to basically enter into their area, or you can also say that intrude into their area. So what did the Britishers do? They basically entered, or they basically they were not tribal, so they tried to enter into the lives, into the areas of tribal people, which was not liked by them. Hence this also led to the revolt. Also, curbing of shifting cultivation. Now shifting cultivation and formation of reserve forest. See, shifting cultivation, if you know, it is also known as by different names such as jhum cultivation, etc. Jhumming, it is also known as. So this type of cultivation, what happens is, in this type of cultivation, the land is cleared by basically burning of the forest, and then land is cleared for another trees or another plants to be grown. Then again, when the soil loses its fertility after some time, the soil loses its fertility, and the tribal or the people basically move to another place. So basically they shift the plants from one place to another. They keep shifting their places. They keep shifting the regions where they want to grow plants or trees. So that was the process of shifting cultivation. So the Britishers basically curbed it. They basically banned shifting cultivation, which was not liked by tribal people because it was one of the source of revenue for them. Then also some of the forests were basically demarcated like reserve forest, protected forest. This was also not liked by tribals because they were not allowed to enter reserved or protected forest. They were under the strict basically surveillance of British officers, so tribals were not allowed here. Hence curbing of shifty cultivation also led to tribal revolt. Then exploitation by money lenders and traders. Money lenders and traders we have already seen, or if you have read Spectrum, you must have read about the zamindars and the permanent settlement, etc. There were various policies of the British government in which the money lenders basically exploited the peasants, exploited the tribal people, and hence the peasants or the tribal people were very much against them. Also, the interference of Christian missionaries and traditional tribal customs led to revolts. See, nobody likes that any other or any outsider basically gets involved into the traditional practice of their own region or their own religion. For example, we won't like that somebody else would dictate their terms on us, because we have our own culture, our own customs. And what did the Britishers do? They basically tried to impose Christianity on tribals or on non-tribals. So this was not liked by the tribal people, and hence all these reasons led to tribal revolts, one after the other. Now there are various characteristics of tribal revolts or various features of tribal revolts, such as it was only against the money lenders and traders or extensions of the colonial government. See, tribal people were not bad. They were not against everybody or anybody. They were basically against money lenders. Why? Because money lenders and traders had exploited them. So they were against them, and also the colonial government was exploiting them. As we have already discussed, they divided forests into protected ones and reserved ones and deprived the tribal people of their own lands. So the tribal people were basically against money lenders and traders or the extensions of colonial government. They were not against everybody. They didn't hate anybody or everybody. They were against those who had exploited them. This was one of the characteristics. In all the tribal revolts, you will see that this is the common thing, that tribal people were not bad people. They were not against everybody, but they were against the ones who had once exploited them. Also, most of the tribal revolts were led by Messiah-like figures. Messiah-like figures, like we will discuss further. For example, Munda revolt or Santhal rebellion. These were some of the revolts where the leaders of the revolt were treated like Messiah or like God. For example, Birsa Munda, he was also known as an incarnation of God. So most of the tribal revolts were led by Messiah-like figures. People or the tribal people used to worship them. Also, they were fought with outdated arms. Now see, tribal people did not have developed or modern weapons, they did not have it, whereas the Britishers had. So most of the tribal revolts failed because of this reason as well. This was one of the prominent reasons for the failure of tribal revolts, because see, tribal people did not have very much resource or very much modern resources. They were very much ethnic in their approach, and hence they used to fight with outdated arms and weapons only. They could not afford, they had very limited resources. So this was one of the reasons for the failure of many revolts. Now see, tribal revolts can be divided into two types, mainland and northeast. That is the tribal revolt that took place on the mainland of India and basically in the northeast. So we will talk about them differently. For example, firstly we will talking about the mainland revolts or the revolts which occurred on the mainland of India. For example, Paharia rebellion. Now in these topics, see, there is not very much to explain. What you have to do is that you have to remember basically the territory at which these revolts took place, or the wars were fought, and also the leader of the rebellion. These are the two most important points. Okay, you must remember about the leader of the revolt. For example, if I just told you about Munda rebellion, so Birsa Munda was the leader. Then in Paharia rebellion, the territory was Damini Kol. So you must remember these small things, because these are direct questions which can be asked in prelims. Okay, so you must remember the area and the leader. Here you may forget, I know you can forget, but do remember the territory, the reason for what the revolt took place, and the leader of the revolt. For example, Paharia's rebellion, it was basically by Marshal Paharia. They were a martial race of Rajmahal Hills. Do remember this name, it is very important. Direct question can be asked from here. So Paharias basically were Marshal Paharias. They were a martial race of Rajmahal Hills, and the territory of Damini Kol was basically annexed by the British, which took place in 1778. Then Chuar uprising. took place between 1766 to 1772. It was basically because of two reasons: land revenue, after which a famine had occurred, and economic decline. Okay, see what happened, that the land revenue, as I had already told you, that the main reason for most of the revolts was the land revenue settlement. Okay, the Britishers followed exploitative policy, then hence they enhanced the land revenue. If you remember, if you have watched the movie Lagan, then it was land revenue only. Okay, so even in cases of droughts, a long year of drought, they were asked to pay heavy land revenue, heavy taxes. This basically annoyed the tribal people, and hence this led to peasant or tribal revolts. Also, in case of famine, they were not helped by the British rulers, then which also led to an economic degradation of the tribal wealth as well. This basically, the Chuar rebellion or Chuar uprising took place at Jungle Mahal of Midnapur and Bankura district. Okay, and it was also prominent in Manbhum and Barabhum. So now, how to remember this? See, M and B are common. So Midnapur, Bankura, Manbhum, Barabhum. Okay, isko S, or you can remember it like this: MB, 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 like Midnapur and Bankura district, Manbhum, Barabhum. Manbhum, Barabhum can easily be remembered because it basically rhymes together. So Midnapur and Bankura district, and Manbhum, Barabhum, and hills of Ghachal and Barabhum. So you can remember like this. So create your own mnemonics so that it is easy for you to remember. Then the leaders, this is important. Leaders like Jagannath Singh, Sham Ganjan, Subla Singh, Madhav Singh, Raja Mohan Singh, Lakshman Singh, these were all prominent leaders of this revolt. Do remember at least 2 or 3 names. Then the coal mutiny, which took place in 1831 in the Chota Nagpur area. I hope you remember or you know what is the Chota Nagpur area. Then the regions, obviously Chota Nagpur plateau is basically located in Ranchi, Singhbhum, Hazaribagh, Palamau, Western Manbhum, and it was also due to large scale transfer of land from tribals to the tribes to the British government. And the leader was Buddho Bhagat. You can easily remember it. Coal mutiny was led by Buddho Bhagat. Okay, coal mutiny in the year 1831 was led by Buddho Bhagat. You can also see, we can create a mnemonic right now. You can also put your mnemonics in the comment section, but it can be like BBK or KBB. Like KBC, it is like KBB. Yes, we can use it, right? Okay, like KBB. KB is coal, Buddho Bhagat. So instead of KBC, you can use KBB. There is a small mnemonic. You can create your own as well. I just created it right now. It's up to you what you want to create and remember. Then Ho and Munda uprising. Ho and Munda uprising was basically against the occupation of Singhbhum, and it was led by Raja of Farhat. He was a Raja, he was a king, and it was led by Raja of Farhat, and it was also against the entry of Bengali. So it was because of two reasons. So Ho and Munda uprising took place because of 2 reasons: because Singhbhum was occupied by the British and they were against the entry of Bengali. See, I told you, non-tribal or the entry of non-tribals in tribal areas basically annoyed the tribal people. This is the reason. Bengalis, they were non-tribal people, and the people the people belonging to Ho and Munda tribe were against their entries. Hence the Ho and Munda uprising took place between 1820 to 1837. Now also do understand that these uprisings did not continue for all these 11 to 20 years. They first took place, or they was first started, then they were suppressed, then again another rebellion started. That is why the years are written like this. Okay, they did not continue for 15 or 16 years all together. Then the Santhal rebellion, 1855 to 56, because of the operation of Santhals in Rajmahal Hills, and the leaders were Sidhu and Kanu. Now this is very famous. You must have also read about it in class 8th NCERT of modern Indian history. In class 8th NCERT, there is a chapter, if I remember, it is the tribal Dikus. Tribals, Dikus and governments, I guess. Tribals and Dikus. I don't remember the complete name. It is either in class 7th or 8th. So there is a chapter, Tribals and Dikus, and in that chapter, Santhal rebellion is explained very well. I would suggest you to go through that as well in case you have time. If you have time, otherwise these slides are enough. So Santhal rebellion, the leaders were Sidhu and Kanu, and they were brothers, and they declared the area between Bhagalpur and Rajmahal as autonomous. So initially it was a success. It was not, though it was suppressed, but at least they succeeded in declaring the area between Bhagalpur and Rajmahal as autonomous. Then the Khond revolt, the leader was Chakra Bishnoi. Do remember it, Chakra Bishnoi. Now see, in these slides, what you have to remember is only the main point. You do not have to read everything line by line. But remember, for example, Khond revolt is Chakra Bishnoi. Coal mutiny we have already discussed in the morning. Coal mutiny is KBB, Buddho Bhagat. So coal mutiny. Khond revolt is KC. Then Santhal rebellion, Sidhu and Kanhu. Likewise, it was also basically against the practice of human sacrifice. Now see, the Britishers wanted to end the traditional exploitative practices like sati, child marriage, and child oppression and female infanticide, but this was not liked by Indians, or this was not liked by the tribal people. So we cannot judge them for this, because at that point of time that was correct for them. Hence they did not basically like it that Britishers interfered in their religious customs, and hence this basically, or the Khond revolt, took place against the practice of or against the banning of the practice of human sacrifice, which was also known as Maria. Okay, so Britishers banned this or interfered in the traditional practice of human sacrifice called Maria, and this was not liked by the tribals. Hence Khond revolt took place, which was led by Chakra Bishnoi. Then the Bhil revolt took place between 1817 to 19 and 1913 in the Western Ghats, and it was also against the company rule because the people wanted Bhil Raj. Then the Ramosi uprising. Ramosi uprising was basically taken over by or started by the hill tribes of Western Ghats, and it was against the policy of annexation, like subsidiary alliance, doctrine of lapse, etc. were also extended or also expanded to the regions of tribal areas or the regions of tribal people. Hence the people were against these policies of annexation. They did not want to give their own land. Thus the revolts took place, and the leader of the revolt was Chittur Singh in the year 1822. The revolt took place in the year 1822. Also Umaji Nayak and Bapu Trimbakji Sawant basically led the revolt in the year 1825 to 26. Then Bhuyan and Juyan rebellion. It was the first uprising by Ratna Nayak, which took place in the year 1867 to 68. So Ratna Nayak led the revolt in the year 1867 to 68, whereas the second lead of the revolt, or the second part of the revolt, was led by Dharnidhar Nayak in 1891 to 93. So you can remember that Bhuyan and Juyan Nayak, so the Nayaks were the leaders, so Ratna Nayak and Dharnidhar Nayak, and it also took place in the eastern part of India, that is the Keonjhar, Odisha, Keonjhar district of Odisha, and it was against the installation of British to the throne. Now see what happened, that the king was basically dethroned, and the British placed their own basically feudatory or their own some favorite person to the throne, and hence this was not liked by the tribals, because see, tribals were very much loyal to their kings. They expected that instead of non-tribal ruling us, the tribals basically worship their king, and hence when their king was dethroned and another Britisher was kept on the throne, or was placed on the throne, or was installed on the throne of the tribal people or the tribal ruler, so this annoyed the tribal people, and hence a revolt like Bhuyan and Juyan rebellion took place. Then Singhpos rebellion took place in Assam. So now you see we have moved toward northeast. Earlier we were doing like the mainland revolt. Now we have moved toward northeast. So Singhpos rebellion, took place in Assam. Then it took place in the year 1843, and the leader was Nirang Phidu. Okay, Nirang Phidu took the leadership in this revolt. That was the Singhpos rebellion, which took place in Assam. Khasi revolt, Garo Khasi Jaintia. This is very easy to remember. Also, it was due to the construction of a road between Brahmaputra Valley and Sylhet. So Britishers Britishers were very much interested in constructing railways and roads, etc. as a means of communication in India, because they wanted to modernize it. Hence, they wanted to construct roads between Brahmaputra Valley and Sylhet, but this was not liked by the people of the Khasi area, and hence Tirath Singh organized the Khasi revolt in the year 1833, which was also suppressed by the British. So I hope you have understood whatever I have taught, whatever has been taught. In case you have any queries, do mention it in the comment section. Thank you.